Hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our backstage event. We're exploring online MBA programs, and we have 5 of them here in the house right now. 5 great programs, all very different from each other. And I think we're going to have a terrific session. A number of the representatives of these schools I've known over the years and have seen before, so welcome back. And for the newbies, great to see you here. Let's start with some introductions. We have Dr. Jordan Holliday. He's Director of Graduate Recruiting at Auburn University's Harbert School, which has a terrific online MBA program. In fact, we have a cousin who finished the online MBA at Auburn last year. We have Kara Adams, who's Associate Director of Admissions and Student Recruitment at UNC Kenan-Flagler. They, of course, have the MBA at UNC, one of the best programs in the market, consistently ranked high, and that is a 2U program. And UNC was one of the very first in the game as well. I've had the fortunate chance to actually sit in on some of the immersions that they've done in Silicon Valley, which have been terrific. We have Carla Mueller, who is from the Jack Welch Management Institute. Anyone who knows anything about me knows I know a lot about Jack, since I spent well over 1,000 hours with him collaborating on his biography and book, Straight from the Gut. We have Liz Wagner from Boston at Boston University's Questrom School. That's probably right here. That's the newest entrant among our 5 programs. BU entered their first online cohort only last year, in the middle of the pandemic, no less. And then we have Tracy Hess, who is the Associate Dean of Graduate and Professional Programs at UMass Isenberg. UMass, you don't know, my daughter went to UMass and got both her undergrad and graduate degrees at Amherst. So there you go. Connections to all of you, one way or another. Let's start with the basics. And when I say the basics, what I want you to do is describe the program and the outline of it, and tell us how long it's been around and how it's evolved over time. We may as well go to the youngest one first. Let's go to Boston University, since your program hasn't evolved all that much since it's only finished its first year, pretty much.
That's right. Yep. So we are the new kid on the block. So our online MBA program launched in August of 2020. So our first class has not yet graduated, but we are enrolling cohorts every August and January. Right now, we're bringing in around 500 students each entry term. And our program is really module based. So we have 6 modules that you complete. So unlike some of our peers, you won't see individual classes in our modules, but instead it's around key sort of concepts and theories that we feel represent the business world today. So 6 modules typically can take about 24 months to do, and is definitely the new kid on the block, but it's been really exciting to launch this. So
terrific. Thank you. And Tracy, how about UMass?
Great. Thanks for having us here today. So the Isenberg School has been offering an online MBA program for over 20 years. We bring a new cohort in every fall, spring, and summer. This last year was a big year for us, with about 600 and some new students coming in. A hallmark of our program is the same faculty that teach in our on-campus program, teach in our online program. We offer a lot of flexibility as far as when and how students can complete it, whether it's 2 years or beyond. We offer a model that works for just about everybody. And we have a wide range of students with a great background of work experience.
And that 600 enrollment last year, is that a record?
That was a record, right? With the pandemic, I think probably all of us saw quite a bit of growth in our online programs. And we look forward to some good numbers in the year ahead too.
Great. Jordan, how about at Auburn?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us today. At the Harbert College of Business, we look to enroll about 300 students each academic year. We bring in students each fall and spring semester for our online MBA. And our online MBA program has been around for more than 30 years. So we definitely have seen longevity in that space, which has allowed us to craft a program that really meets the needs of our students. So in that, we have seen our program become more flexible. As Tracy was mentioning with their program, we also aim to meet students where they are in their personal and professional lives. So you have a 6-year window to complete the program. However, most of our students complete it in about 2.5 years and take 1 to 2 classes per semester as they are able to with their personal and professional lives. But our goal in that is to be able to, like I said, meet them where they are and provide that program that will fit within their life.
Right. That's great. In 30 years, I imagine you might have been sending out VHS tapes in the beginning.
I'm sure there was some of that.
Yeah, we've come a long way from there. I will say that. And Carla, how are things at Jack Welch Management Institute? How has the program evolved over the years?
Oh, fantastic. And John, thank you so much for having me. I'll share with you that I am not only the director of admissions, I'm also a graduate of the program. My husband and I both went through, and I started supporting Jack and Susie over a decade ago. I've been with them almost a decade, but that's how long the program's been around. So I've had the pleasure of watching our MBA program grow from 130 students when we started. Now we have over 2,000 students in our student body. We have over 1,800 graduates, and it's really exciting. We continue to grow. We have 4 intakes per year. So we have our fall, winter, spring, and summer intake. And our fall typically is our quarterback season, as I'm sure it is for most of you. So we're currently at about 36% growth for our fall intake. Of course, that's just started, but we're really excited. And for me, the thing that I am so passionate about, and the thing I know Jack is always so passionate about, that I feel like is one of our biggest differentiators, John, is this program, the way Jack designed it, was he wanted a program that was really designed for working professionals, designed to help them transform their lives and their careers while they were going through the program. And really, that's what we see happening. About 71% of our students are getting multiple promotions and raises while they're going through the program because of the way Jack designed the program, for it to be so practical and immediately actionable, and for them to see kind of immediate results. And that really is our mission here, to transform the lives of our students. And the other thing that makes us, so unique, I think, really is the level of interaction that the faculty give. And we've had the privilege and honor of being, on the Poets and Quants top 25 list for the last 8 years of the 10 years that we've been around. And it was really such an honor last year that our faculty, our professors were named #1 in their overall quality and #1 in asynchronous learning. And that was really, what Jack envisioned, and such an honor to carry on his legacy after having lost him last March. So it's just a privilege and an honor to be a part of this program, to see all the lives that we've changed. And that's really what our mission is, to have that transformational effect in the lives of our students. And the other huge benefit is kind of the networking that comes along with it. We've gone to great lengths to provide what we call a JWMI Connect. It's a proprietary networking community where students can have the option to really interact, not with just the 20 or so students that they're in for each of their classes, but they can really plug in and join the whole JWMI community, including our alumni that are still highly engaged. We have mentoring programs, but every week there's different live optional things they can participate in, different networking events and different webinars, as well as, ways to mentor or connect with other mentors that we help match them up with. And so, I could go on all day, so I'll stop there. But, really, the thing we're most excited about recently is the diversity that the program, we have over 56 countries represented in our program. So really an international population. About 20% of our students now are international. And so it's very exciting to see, it growing worldwide.
Yeah, that's a high percentage of internationals in an online MBA program, 20%. Kara, UNC's been a leader in the business, and you've been around for now how many years?
10 years, actually. We're celebrating this week officially. So I'm hosting a webinar tonight. I'm actually moderating it with several of our alums, one of which was the very first student to ever get admitted to MBA at UNC. So I'm
Wow.
taking some notes from you today, John, on your moderating technique to prepare me for tonight. But we're really, really excited. 10 years, obviously, a lot has changed, a lot of innovation, a lot of growth. The main parts of our program are that it's flexible in the sense that you can finish it in 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. However, there's a big online portion of each class. So you're required to sit in a mandatory session 90 minutes per week. And then the rest is asynchronous. So a lot of our students take 2 classes at a time. That's 2 90-minute sessions per week that they're dedicated to, max 17 students in the class with the professor. So you really get to have a deep dive discussion on what you've learned throughout the week, share your experiences, your expertise, while also learning from faculty, from other students. And then we have the option to do concentration. So the first year of the program, regardless, is really the core courses. And then the second year are built around the electives. So if you choose to do a concentration, you can. If you don't want to do a concentration and you just want to do a plethora of different electives, you can do that too. And then as you touched on earlier with the immersions, which we now call summits, we do require 2 in-person sessions before you graduate. So prior to COVID, we offered those both domestically and internationally. Of course, during COVID, like most of us, a lot of that had to kind of be put on hold, but we are excited to announce that we have been able to do a Chapel Hill Summit, and we'll continue to do Chapel Hill kind of until we get clearance to travel abroad. But that's also a big piece of the program.
Will you do any other U.S. immersions in this coming year, or you're still holding off?
I don't think so. I think we've decided Chapel Hill is probably the safest bet, and students love coming to campus, especially if they've never been before. So it's kind of a win-win for us, but we hope to next year for sure.
Absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit about the class profile. So Carla mentioned that 20% of their students are international. What is the gender split, the international breakdown, the average age and work experience of your students, and where they come from?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So average years of work experience is about 10 plus. You do have to have a minimum of 2 years of work experience to be considered. But a lot of those students are also looking at full-time programs. So it's really our responsibility to help guide them depending on what they hope to do long-term. About 45% is female. About 40% is underrepresented. And like Carla mentioned, we do have a lot of countries represented, not as much as Jack Welch, but we are in the high 40 there. So about 20% of our students also have some type of advanced degree. So maybe they have another master's or a PhD, but are really understanding in their career they need those business fundamentals. And so they're also coming back to get an MBA.
Right. And you pull students from how many different states?
Every state.
Every state.
Yes. So we have just as much of a West Coast presence as we do an East Coast presence.
Yeah. In fact, if I recall correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, in fact, the #1 state outside of North Carolina would be California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that too is because the mandatory sessions that you have to do at night, it's a perfect time for West Coast applicants to, be able to get home and log into a class and still be able to take a class that East Coast students are taking at 9 p.m., but maybe work better for them on the
Yep.
West Coast.
Yep. And 10 years average work experience, that mimics a lot of executive MBA programs, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Liz, what about at BU? What's the class profile look like?
Sure, it's a little bit similar. So average work experience right now is around 12 years. So really sort of aimed at those mid-career professionals. We technically don't have a minimum, but we really are a better fit for those that have some professional work experience. Average age is around 37. We are right around 33% women right now, 29% international from 60 countries. So very nice diversity there, 39 states. And we are about 18% underrepresented students. So really nice diversity. And one of the things I love so much, and I'm sure this is true at our peer institutions as well, is just that it isn't from one region of the country or one region of the world, that we really have students all over. And we have international students that are living and working in the US, and we have US students that are living and working overseas that are all participating in the program. So makes scheduling those live sessions a little bit challenging because we have every time zone represented. But it's been really fun to see that diversity in the class because it's a really great group of students from all different backgrounds, all different industries represented, functional areas, etc.
Right, that's great. And Carla, you mentioned the 20% international enrollment. What other aspects of your class profile can you tell us?
Sure, thanks, John. So our average age hovers around 39, 40. Our typical student has, around 15 years of experience, and we are 51% female actually right now,
Wow.
which is very exciting. As I mentioned, 48 states, 56 countries worldwide. The really fun thing about the program is the variety and the expanse of the types of students that we bring, especially since we started introducing our concentrations, which we first had a healthcare concentration, then a human resource one. Our most popular one now that's been around for about a year is operations management, but it started attracting such a broad spectrum of students everywhere from active duty military to professional athletes to CEOs and VPs and high-level directors, everything down for people who are looking to get their first, management leadership type of role that are, more to 5 years of experience. So it's really beautiful to see them, all coming together and learning from each other. And as Jack always would say, you have the most to learn from the people who are most unlike yourself. And so we really, play to that strength. And it's just a fantastic mix of students. And there's a tremendous amount of camaraderie within our JWMI community and our alumni. It's another thing that we really pride ourselves on is we very much has that family feel to it, even though we are so large.
Great. Tracy, what's the class profile look like at UMass?
Oh, great, thank you. Our average age ranges from 36 to 38. We have about 11 years of work experience. About 39–40% are females. We've seen an increase in that in the last year or so, which is wonderful. About 12% international, 12% URM, and 99 to 100% have work experience. So while we our kind of guideline for work experience is we like to see 3 years and up. And we do have about 30% of our students are from the medical profession also.
Big healthcare group.
Big healthcare group.
Interesting. Why do you think that's so?
I think that's it's always been a strength of ours, and we have some partnerships and a very strong network. We certainly have great partnerships in other industries also, but I think word of mouth has helped us a great deal in bringing in a large number of students from the medical profession.
Great. And Jordan, at Auburn, what kind of students are you attracting?
So right now for the class we just recently admitted, the average work experience is a little over 8 years, which does align with our executive program as well, having that about 8+ years work experience. We do have a preference of 2 years of work experience, but for those students, they're also looking at our full-time program, and we do have that conversation with them about which program may be the best fit for them based on where they are in their career. We're about 30% female and 25% underrepresented minorities in our program. We actually don't have international students in our online MBA program. That has not been the priority for our online MBA, but we do encourage international students to apply to our full-time MBA program, where we do have graduate assistantships available that could really help fray that cost of the education to come to Auburn and do that full-time MBA program. In terms of academic background, of course, we have students that are business majors, but we really see students from all different disciplines and a large growth of engineers as well. We do have a dual degree in industrial and systems engineering, which I think some people are interested in, but also our College of Engineering is large at Auburn. So we see a lot of people looking at Auburn for that MBA for that purpose. The most common job titles we see are things like business analyst, financial analyst, vice presidents, but really seeing people from all different industries looking at the program.
And Jordan, if you had to say what really differentiates your program from others, what would it be?
So I touched on this a little bit before, but the flexibility is really the biggest differentiator, I think, for us. As I mentioned, students have 6 years to complete the program from the time that they start. There's no required immersions that they have to do, but they're welcome to take a global class if they would like to have the option to participate in a global immersion if we're able to go internationally. As everyone's mentioned, of course, during COVID, that's something that we haven't been able to do, but the hope is we will be able to within the next year or so. So they have the option to do that, but they're not required to. Also, all of our core classes that we have in the program, there's 9 core courses. They're offered every semester. So regardless, you can take those at any time. There's no lockstep curriculum that you have to follow. If you need to take a semester off because of your work or personal obligations, you have the ability to do that. So that flexibility really makes this program accessible to a lot of people wherever they are in their professional and personal life.
Great. Kara, what would you say is a differentiator at UNC?
I think our biggest differentiator is that at UNC, regardless of the program you choose, or full-time, or evening, or weekend, or online, you're essentially getting the same degree. It's just taught in a different format. You're obviously surrounded maybe by different students and experiences and what they're hoping to get out of it. But that's a big thing for us at UNC, noticing that and acknowledging that not everybody has the option to move to North Carolina to pursue a degree at UNC. And so what can we offer them where they still feel like they're a student, they're still getting the same perks, taking a lot of the same core courses, and then really being able in your second year to take electives in other formats if there's space available in those classes. So just because you're an online student doesn't mean that you have to take all of your classes online. You definitely have to take the core courses, but then maybe if you have the opportunity to come to North Carolina, you can take a weekend elective or an evening elective. So really the flexibility there. And then I would say career coaching for us is another thing. You get lifelong career coaching with any of our programs. So even if you start the program and you are interested in maybe making a pivot or even continuing at your same organization, but you feel like there's a lot going on because you just started an MBA and you don't want to add additional stressors, you just can know that even once you graduate 5 years later, 10 years later, you can always come back and utilize those career resources.
Right, great. And Tracy, what would you say is the big differentiator at UMass for your online MBAs?
So I'll take a two-pronged approach there. So I would say it's kind of, as I mentioned earlier, it's the same faculty, the same courses that you see whether you're taking our MBA program on campus or online. And quite a few of our faculty do both, right? So it's really integrated and it's been high quality. It continues to be high quality there. Our flexibility, as has been mentioned a couple of times here, but I would say for us, it's in addition to taking it at the pace that works with your schedule. In addition, we also have flexible offering times. So we have kind of our longer fall and spring semesters, which can work, say, for more quantitative courses or more complex content. Then we have shorter winter sessions and some shorter summer sessions, so that students can work in different types of courses, 1, 2, 3 credit electives, take 2 courses, but not take, say, a full 2, 3 credit classes right at one time, so that they can fit our curriculum and the course load to their schedule and make it through at a good pace. And I'd say our academic advisors are really there to help them with that, to help them design a personal program of study that suits their needs and helps them work through the program in a timely manner and meet their goals for success.
Right, great. Now, Carla, I would imagine that the big differentiator at your school is the fact that you're being taught management and leadership through the lens of Jack Welch, right?
Absolutely. Well, and really it is the quality of not only our professors, as I mentioned, they're all experts in the field that they teach, but we also, we ranked #1 in the ability for the students to have opportunities to connect with their individual professors. But in addition to that, kind of the additional value add is that throughout all the courses, we have pre-recorded lectures by not only Jack, it's more immortalized within the program, but we have 42 other experts of practice, and they're people like Warren Buffett, Dave Calhoun, who's the CEO of Boeing, Carlos Burrito, the CEO of Anheuser-Busch, and John, I'm sure you're recognizing a lot of these names, David Zaslav and Jennifer Carpenter. She's the global head of talent for Delta. So, when we started getting our concentrations, we started attracting people like Omar Ishrak. Ishrak is really helpful in us creating our healthcare concentration. Former CEO of Medtronic, and Toby Cosgrove, the CEO or former CEO of Cleveland Clinic. So you're getting all these, you're learning from CEOs, not just about them, and it's really, I think, our faculty, the way that the program is delivered with the ability to immediately apply what you're learning and seeing that kind of immediate impact, and as that's evidenced obviously by our 71% of our students are getting multiple promotions and raises. And the third thing, John, I would say is really, when Jack designed this program, he wanted an MBA program that really was focused on student needs and student concerns. So we really focused on what the students want. We have something called Voice of the Students that every quarter, we're constantly asking them, how can we be better? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And so we actually have NPS scores, Net Promoter Scores, and really pride ourselves on the fact that our NPS scores are in the 80s, which is kind of aligns with like Apple and Southwest, and the average, I think, of graduate programs NPS scores is around 27, so compared to the low 80s. But again, that was one of Jack's tenets. He wanted students to have a voice, to be able to tell us what they wanted to see more of and less of, and how to continuously improve. So we're always that continuous improvement model.
Yeah, I know that Jack was obsessive about those measurements. And
He
we
was.
look forward to
Sure
pour over them and then have meetings with all you folks and give you hell when he didn't like the numbers. But that's Jack. Liz, what differentiates the Questrom Online MBA?
Yeah, thanks, John. I mean, I think it's a couple of things. I touched a little bit before on that integrated curriculum and the fact that you're really experiencing business the way you do in the real world. And so instead of studying in silos, you're really integrating everything that you're learning, and again, applying that right the next day at work. And so I think that's a really important part of our curricular experience. And I would also point to our teaming and our faculty. So like some of the other programs, it's the same faculty that teach in our full-time and part-time programs also teach in the online MBA, same degree when you're finished. But what I love is the teaming. You're still doing teaming every week. You have 2 to 4 hours worth of teamwork every week as part of your curricular experience, in addition to the live sessions that you're doing. And so you're not missing out on that network. You're not missing out on that teaming experience just by being in an online program. And I think that's true of a lot of programs. And I think that's really important for students out there to know is that you can get that network, you can get that teaming in an online MBA, just like you might in person. And there's a lot of great technology out there to support programs in this.
Right. Now, Kara, if you were to answer this question for me, I think this would be helpful to everybody. Everyone goes into whatever experience they're about to sign up for with expectations. And I wonder, what's the biggest surprise that students have when they enter the program and go through it at UNC?
I would say, obviously in a positive way, just the networking and accessibility you have to professors and other faculty. So you're never feeling like you're going at this alone. Everybody comes in with some type of gap to fill, and it's important that we connect them with the right students or the right faculty to help get them through those classes that are going to be difficult. I think because of an online program, even though we're all sitting here today, there's still a stigma with like, I'm going to be on this island and I'm not going to have anybody to talk to, and I'm going to feel like I'm going at this alone. And I think we do a fantastic job of making students feel like they are part of the community regardless. And I hope you felt that way when you were in Silicon Valley at the immersions, and students see each other for the first time, and they've been in classes together for 12, 18 months at this point. And just the friendships that are built, I think, is probably the biggest kind of surprise, but in a very positive way for students.
Right. Now, Carla, you're an alum of the program. So what most surprised you?
I am. What, very similar to what Kara said. My undergraduate was in a brick and mortar University of Colorado. Really, even having worked, I was just had been working for JWI for a couple of years when I started the program. I was so pleasantly surprised of the level of connections and networking that I got out of the online environment, and the level of engagement from the faculty is just unparalleled. I mean, they, if you have, having a problem with a concept or even something outside of the classroom, you're having, struggling with something at work, they'll call you up, they'll walk you through it, they'll help you out, and kind of just that level of accessibility. And, some of the friendships I made in this program are, the best friendships I've had in my life. And it doesn't stop when you graduate. Actually, just, it seems to intensify is what I hear from all the alumni, because they all do think we have, as I mentioned, over 1,800 alumni. And they still stay so highly engaged with the student body, offer to be mentors. And so it's just, I think that was something that really surprised me. Like Kara mentioned, you don't necessarily expect that when you're going to an online program, especially coming from, an on-ground experience. So it's just, and I hear that over and over and over again from our alumni and other students in the program.
Yeah, it is surprising how people do feel connected in these online adventures. Jordan, you have a theory as to why that's the case? Because it is a bit contrarian. I think that going in, a lot of people worry, in fact, that they have to sacrifice those important connections that lead to enduring friendships and relationships if they do an online MBA. And the truth is they don't. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a fear that people have when they start the program, if they're going to feel connected to the institution, if they're going to feel accepted by the people who are in it, if they're going to know the people who are in the program. I think our student services team here does a really great job of fully integrating people into the program once they start. They instantly add them into our Salesforce communities where they can collaborate with each other. They can also group together based on geographic region, based on their career and industry. And then also our career services team is there from the time they start until they graduate and beyond to connect them with alumni and get them integrated in that sense. And with over 30 years of our online MBA program, we do have a robust alumni base that they can connect with. But I think, as they've both mentioned, one of the things that surprises students about our program when they finish is that they do feel not just connected to the MBA, but connected to Auburn. So I'm a 3-time Auburn alum. I know when I go anywhere in the world, I will find someone that's going to shout War Eagle to me and I can say it back to them. So whether that's walking down the Via Dolorosa in Israel or walking on cobblestone steps to a castle in Scotland, I've found an Auburn logo that I can say that to. And I think our online students find that as well. Another surprising thing that I think our students say when they finish is that they're surprised that the rigor of the coursework was challenging, which I think is a good thing. And they see that as a good thing too. As many have mentioned, our courses, the online students have the same assessments, the same assignments, and the same expectations as our full-time students. So they are getting that same degree once they're finished, and they do feel very connected to it at the end.
Great. Tracy, what surprises your students?
Yeah, I would say it's the accessibility of all the people involved in our program and how we support that. So, for example, our faculty offer synchronous virtual office hours, and they can pop in and meet the faculty, have a discussion with them, get additional details on class concepts. So they're accessible. They're able to really meet them regardless of time zone and so forth. They vary their office hours so they can reach out to students. I'd say their skill in setting up discussion forums in class and groups so that they really do get an opportunity, students do, to interact with one another in meaningful ways. One of the most pleasant and common pieces of feedback we get from our graduates are that they really were able to get to know their peers and how impressed they were with their peers and what a great network they form. Our advisors, our 3 types of advisors, play a large role in that. So we have academic advisors, admissions counselors or advisors, and also career advisors. So to start with, our admissions counselors help prospective students figure out what the best program is for them, which format is the best option for them. And they have that connection early on in getting to know Isenberg and UMass. And then our academic advisors from day one really help them to decide the sequence of classes, the electives that they would like to take, the timing of it all, what fits with their life and their professional and personal needs. And then our career coaches also work with them, whether it's with, workshops that they attend live or they watch recordings of. They get assistance with resume, LinkedIn profiles, whatever their needs are in the career space. Our counselors can help with that. And then they have an opportunity for one-on-one coaching also. So it's really a full range of services and connectivity to people via Zoom, via text, via, it's any mode of delivery. We've got people to interact with our students and support them along the way. So accessibility really is a big part of our offering.
Right. Liz, what do you say?
I think a lot of it has been covered, but I think, sort of piggyback a little bit off what Jordan was talking about, just this isn't a watered down MBA. This is a for real MBA, and you've got to put in the work and the time, and it's really applicable. And I think sometimes people are, they're sort of waiting till the end for it to suddenly, have value in their jobs. And it's like the second mod of the semester, they're already going, okay, wow, this is really amazing how applicable this is to my job and how helpful this is. And so I think that sometimes people don't realize how they're going to sort of hit the ground running, and that this is, it's not just an easier degree. It's just that it happens to be online, but that you're going to get the same core business skills that you would in any other MBA program. And along with that, all the work that goes along with it. This is a globally recognized credential. And I think sometimes students are both pleasantly surprised and sort of like, whoa, this is for real, but then are really excited about how applicable it immediately is.
Which leads me to another obvious question, which is this. There are people probably sitting back there wondering, oh my goodness, how can I really do this? I have a lot of family responsibilities. I have a demanding job. How am I going to fit this into my lifestyle and make the most of it? Kara, what's your advice?
I think you just have to find a routine that's going to work for you. You have to jump in with both feet. I talk to students every day who are waiting for kind of that ideal time, as I think you were alluding to, John, and you really have to make the jump and figure it out. I mean, we have students all the time who have kids in the program or had kids before they came into the program or have moved from overseas to be closer to UNC if they want, some additional accessibility to the actual university itself. And we love to connect them with current students or alums. I think it's really valuable to have a mentor as you go through this process, especially those first few classes. And our program is also very quantitative heavy, more so than a lot of other programs. And so students are kind of nervous about that. Whether they're in a quantitative role now, maybe they didn't even really take but stats in undergrad. We recommend that they maybe take some Coursera courses, some courses through Khan Academy, just to get them kind of up to speed on terminology and all of that. But to know that they're not going at this alone. I mean, the beauty of this program is that you have people to rely on, and there's going to be times in your career, your life, that you are overwhelmed, and you work with project teams in all of these classes, and you can say to them, look, I can't give 100%, I can give 90%, but I'll do more than my fair share in the next class when things kind of even out. So just being able to raise your hand and really acknowledge that, you need some help, and we're all there to provide a resource for you, but it's so worth it in the end. I mean, I talked to students who were like, I was having the thought of starting my MBA a year ago, and now a year has passed, and I'm still at, point A, and I'm just ready to take the plunge, but they're just waiting for that perfect time.
Right. Now, Carla, you mentioned earlier that your husband also went through the program. Were you going through it at the same time?
We absolutely were. And we both, John works 60 hours a week. He's the director of nuclear technology for the Navy. So we have really demanding jobs. We have 4 kids. And so it's really helpful to me when I'm speaking to, prospective students. I'm like, you know what, you will find that you become really good at time management. The asynchronous format's really going to help you, because you will be able to find those pockets of time in your work week whenever it works for you. But you do have to commit. For me, what really helped was time blocking, and I share, with students, whatever's going to work for you, just commit to that, the time that you're going to devote. I said, for those of you who have kids, we had one daughter left at home when we were going through it, and we would have what's called table time, and we'd all sit at the table together doing our homework, and, so little things like that. But the one thing that I hear over and over again, from alumni is, it's amazing how good at time management that you become. And the one thing I hear when students graduate is like, what am I going to do now, with all this extra time that I've created? And in the beginning, it's a little bit, hard and difficult, and it's something new, trying to figure out how you're going to fit into your life. But by 3 weeks into the program, it becomes, second nature, like brushing your teeth, and you've just created this extra space in your life. And like I said, the commonality is that I hear over and over again is that, students just become really good at time management, and then after they're done, they want to come back for more.
There you go. I find that's true. I mean, most people who complete an MBA program are sad to see that it's ended, frankly, because the experience has been so transformational and so really helpful to them. Jordan, what kind of candidate are you looking for your program? What are the basic parameters for admission? Are you waiving standardized tests or not? What's the process like?
So we do currently have a waiver policy for the GMAT and the GRE, and it's based on years of work experience and undergraduate GPA. So there's different threshold levels based on how many years of work experience you have and what your undergraduate GPA was. And if you meet those standards, then we'll automatically waive the GMAT or the GRE. Past that, students are also allowed to submit a waiver request. So if they don't meet those automatic criteria, but feel that their work experience, the quantitative things they've done at work, or other explanations they would like to share with us, then we're happy to review those on an individual case-by-case basis for students for that test score requirement. Of course, we'll also look at GPA, any transcript students have, and their professional statement and their resume. But beyond that, I think the three things that we're really looking for in a candidate go down to motivation. So what is your motivation for pursuing an MBA at this point in your career? Why are you looking to do an MBA? And specifically for us, why do you want to do an MBA at Auburn? The next thing would be skill set. So what skills do you have that you'll bring to the program for those collaborative projects? But then also, what skills are you lacking that you want to get from this MBA, and trying to match if that's really a fit with the type of courses that we offer and the type of network that we have to provide you with what you're looking for. And the last thing I would say is values. So at Auburn, we have something called the Auburn Creed, which is a series of belief statements that we hope all Auburn men and women will achieve as they're in any program and as they become alums, which are things like, I believe that this is a practical world and I can count only on what I earn. Therefore, I believe in hard work, or I believe in education, which gives me the knowledge to work wisely and trains my mind and my hands to work skillfully. So those types of statements we hope will come out in the questions we ask on the application and in that professional statement, just to see that the values they have align with the values that we stand for as a program and as an institution.
Great. Tracy, are you requiring a GMAT or a GRE, and what else are you looking for?
Right. So we have a GMAT requirement, but we also, like Jordan was saying, we have an automatic waiver specification. So we look kind of holistically at undergraduate GPA, test scores, and work experience. So we try to make it really transparent and upfront for applicants to understand if they're going to get that waiver, if they need a more detailed review. But getting past that and looking at professional work experience. So through that, we really can see that applicants have a background that enables them not only to contribute to our community of students and with interactions with faculty, but also that they'll be more satisfied. What we found over the years is that those students who do have that work experience, right, kind of a minimum level of work experience, they get a lot more out of the program and they're a lot more satisfied with it because they can immediately take what they've learned and apply it to practice, or take their practice and provide insight to the students and the faculty they're working with.
Right. And Liz, is Boston requiring a standardized test? And if not, what are you looking for?
So we aren't. It's not required for BU. And I think for us, we're very similar to Tracy, sort of how much value are you bringing to the table? How are you going to contribute meaningfully? We don't do a lot of HBS cases in the online MBA, but instead our students are the cases. And so you want to have the experiences to draw on in the classroom, that's the better, the more you have, the better you're going to do. So I think we really put an emphasis on professional work experience in the admissions process. Of course, we want to make sure you can handle the academics and you can learn what we teach. And so we're going to look at your undergraduate record and things like that. But ultimately, we want to make sure we're the right fit for you and that, you know, your interests match the program and what we offer. But ultimately, it comes down to we want to have an enriching class that's diverse and everyone is contributing in different ways. And so we're really going to dig into that professional experience and personal experience, life experience that you've had to make sure that you are really going to enrich the experience for those around you. But likewise, so will all of your classmates enrich your experience.
Right. And Kara, I wonder what advice you might have for applicants about how to choose a program that's right for them and their career aspirations. How should people go about that?
Absolutely. I would say do your research. I mean, obviously, as we're all sitting here today, we all offer different expertise, different programs in general, being honest about time commitments, flexibility, what you're really hoping to get out of it. I think is vital, just because you don't want to start a program, be several months in, and then realize it's not the program for you. So using LinkedIn to also, I think, reach out, talk to students who've been through the program. I mean, we love the fact that you can reach out to any of our alums on LinkedIn and they will respond and grab coffee with you or jump on a phone call just to talk through their experience. But of course, working with admissions, talking with me, someone on my team, you know, having those full transparent conversations, and then making sure that you have your support system involved. This isn't just a decision you can make on your own, right? If you have a family or a partner or anyone else in your life who you really value their opinion, having those conversations with them, because you need to all be on board, especially if you have a family. Because of course, you know, you're going to have to step away at times to attend class or go to these in-person sessions. And I think it's important to make sure everybody's on the same page at the very beginning of the program.
So if you do it like Carla did it, go with your husband, you're both going to be on the same page, aren't you?
That's right.
Carla, I assume that the advice Kara gave is you would totally agree with.
I do totally agree with, and you know, I couldn't stress it any more. You know, just do your due diligence. Ask a lot of questions. You know, for we host a live Q&A very similar to this every Thursday. You know, anybody who's interested can jump on that live Q&A and ask questions to ourselves, and we always have an alumni on there. And you know, but do your due diligence and really connect with the other alumni. That what Kara said is so key. We have our JWMI Connect, of course, is only, you know, once you get enrolled for students, but we also have a really, really active LinkedIn networking group where you can jump on there and reach out to any of the alumni. But that would be probably my biggest, you know, piece of advice for you is, of course, you know, research all the, you know, the accreditation and rankings and all that stuff. But, you know, talk to other students that are alumni. I think that's really going to help you figure out if this is going to be the right program for you.
Right. Good advice. Go out there, do your research. Each of these programs have elaborate websites. It's filled with a lot of nitty-gritty information, what core courses you'll take in what sequence, what the elective offerings are, whether or not there are concentrations, whether there are in-resident sessions that are voluntary or mandatory, how much the programs cost, of course, how long it takes to do them. And whether there are concentrations that, you know, maybe you want. If you're in healthcare, maybe you want a deep dive in your elective offerings in that area. And you might want to rub shoulders with more colleagues from a given industry, or maybe you don't. Maybe you want to get out of the industry you're in and you want to make sure that the program is filled with a lot of diverse people that you can network with and help you uncover opportunities out there that otherwise would be unavailable to you. So let me thank each and every one of you for a great session. Really appreciated it, loved it. In fact, I think we had a lot of information that we threw out there in the marketplace, and I hope it's helpful to all of you out there. Jordan, Tracy, Carla, Liz, and Kara, thank you so much for being with us. I want to remind our audience that our next session, you can actually meet current students and alum alumni from Auburn, UNC, Jack Welch, Boston University, and UMass Isenberg. So hang in there with my colleague Heather and get the nitty gritty on the ground perspectives from current students and alums. Thank you very much. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Have a wonderful day.